Hello, welcome everybody to Ram and Goat Astrology. We are having a conversation today with Jon and Amelie from the band 7,000 Apart, and I'm so excited to have them here for a couple reasons. One of them is I met you guys first in Green Bay for my birthday. We actually went out to a show for my birthday, and my kids were along, and it's actually at a place that's no longer open, and you sang Moana for my kids. And Moana had just come out. And do you remember that?
I don't know if I remember the exact moment. I must say we have played about 500 shows the last 5 years. But I remember singing Moana to some kids. Absolutely.
Those were mine. So I've kind of followed you guys ever since, and I've loved watching your growth and development. So one of the reasons we had you on is Amelie, you're from Stockholm, and Jon, you're from Green Bay, and that's where Helena and I are from. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're totally new to astrology as well.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Aside from we do have some friends.
We have some friends that are very into it.
Yeah,
yes.
both and in and without, not in the music industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you're going to share this with all of them too, right?
100%, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah.
And when they talk about astrology, are you guys just like, shut your ears off, or are you like, I'm intrigued?
So I grew up, like, my dad is the most like atheist, science-y, like he will just like shut down pretty much anything. So like that's kind of how I grew up.
Yeah.
And so that I'm like definitely a little bit towards that. Like I'm not gonna be like mean about it ever, obviously, and I think it's really cool. Like, and I'm interested into anything, and I'm happy to learn about everything. But there's definitely that side of my brain, that the dad side. Luckily, I have my mom's side too. But the dad side is like, just kind of a little bit, yeah.
I get it.
A little bit on the skeptical side. Yeah.
That's the word, skeptical.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. We love you.
I feel like I'm still skeptical sometimes. Like I have, yes, and because I cannot explain how this works, and I just know, like, time and time again, I am just confronted with like
the patterns lining up.
It's just too much to be a coincidence, and I just go along with it. Like, okay, it seems to be working. I don't really understand how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is something that definitely for me, I feel like it's it gives me something for sure. It
Support, understanding. Yeah. My husband says it's too creepy accurate to ignore.
I love that.
I'm gonna use that. That's good.
Yeah, I love that. I think whatever like you can find that makes sense of this crazy world, like whatever that might be, if it's religion or astrology or something else, like I'm like, just go for it, because this world is crazy, and if this gives you any sense of like comfort or pattern or understanding, like go for it, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. Preach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that. And that is exactly what we are here for, is we're all in this crazy earth school, right? I call it earth school because it very much is school. And we're all here with our own mission and our own assignment. And that is what my understanding of astrology is here is your assignment. Here's your program. Now learn how to work with this program. Figure out how to add your apps and tweak it and, make your programming work for you so you can accomplish what you're here to do in this life. And then what I absolutely love is when we bring two people together, their programs merge together to make a new program. And we're going to check out your new program chart today, and which is called a composite chart. So it's basically merging you guys together, which essentially would be your band, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
so excited to do this. So I'm going to share your charts.
Have you guys ever seen a astrology chart before?
Nope.
Okay. I think we need to explain a little bit what they are going to look at. So to start with, are we going to look at the composite chart or first the natal?
This is Amelie's chart first.
Yeah. So pretty much the second you're born, it's like someone goes out and takes a snapshot of the sky, and you get a photograph with all of the planets' positions in what signs they are, in what house they are, etc. And that's the black symbols on the inside of the circle.
Okay.
And then the green symbols on the outside of the circle there, that's the planets in the sky right now, because they're always moving constantly. And sometimes they will make aspects to your natal ones. We call the ones that you were born with, we call them your natal ones.
Okay.
And then the planets currently in the sky can make what's called transits or connections or conversations, I like to call them. So the energy of this planet is talking to the energy of this planet. Are they having a good conversation, or are they arguing with each other?
Okay, sounds good.
Nice.
So Helena, why don't you dive into what you see first?
All right. Looking at Amelie's chart, you're born the 6th of December, 1994.
Yes.
Correct. And you're born with, you see here, Laura, you want to point out the sun?
Yep, the little donut down here.
Yes,
okay,
the
nice.
donut. That's the sun symbol.
Yep.
That's the yummy looking donut.
Yeah.
That's because we haven't had breakfast yet. That's why.
Oh. But so your sun, and what most people talk about when they first get talking about astrology, is the sun sign. So you probably know that you were a Sagittarius.
Yes, I know I'm a Sag. That's how far I've gotten.
All right.
Yes. Cool. Okay, great. And Sagittarius is a very it's a sign of a person that is very optimistic, very adventurous, loves learning, and just wants to travel and expand your mind. And it's a fire sign, so you like to move, like being around, around people, like probably the last one to leave a party, stuff like that. Like you like to be where things are happening. That's your sun. Then we have another important thing is your moon, and your moon is placed in Capricorn. And I know this energy, I have this moon in Capricorn could be almost an opposite thing to what Sagittarius energy is like. Capricorn is very much hardworking,
little pessimistic.
A little pessimistic, very realistic.
Come on, Helena, be honest.
A little pessimistic. So if your sun is half glass full, your moon and your emotional needs can sometimes be a little bit glass half empty. You probably grew up being sort of like feeling like an old person when you were young, like taking responsibility more than you should as a kid, and not because anyone's giving it to you, but you're taking it because you have the emotional need to take care of things around you.
Yeah, emotional maturity here is a big one. Are you a sibling? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, no, everything that you're saying is pretty accurate so far, which is really cool. So my sibling history is very, very complicated in a way. Like in one way, it's not. Like I have 3 half siblings. Okay. So, and I'm the oldest. But I grew up also having step siblings that were older than me. So I was the youngest one for a little bit when I was really little, kind of. But I was also an only child for a long time. But then I wasn't. Yeah, so it's like a whole thing. But yes, the whole responsibility, especially when I grew up in my when I got into my teenage years, when I had all my 3 half siblings, I definitely took up on a lot of responsibility and a lot of emotional maturity. Absolutely.
So where that is in your chart down here is in this slice of pie number 4. So the chart is cut into 12 sections, and they're little 12 slices of pie, and they're called houses. And the 4th house represents your childhood and how you were parented. And so your emotions lie in that house. So you're very emotionally tied to family members and your childhood. And then eventually, should you want to parent, that will be somewhere where you'll really have an emotional responsibility that will just be a very important part of your life. And then right next to that is this little planet here with this little butthole. We call him Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of chaos, sudden change, and just like shaking things up. So emotionally, as a child, the way you just described it is exactly what this energy would bring. Like nice. Your foundation got shaken up, and then you got settled, and then it got shaken up again. It's almost like you lived in a snow globe, and people kept shaking your snow globe.
Yeah. That's basically Stockholm.
A snow globe?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. But you have these 3 planets. So there's the moon and at 25 degrees, and then Uranus is at 24 degrees, and then the planet Neptune is at 21 degrees. So these 3 planets kind of merge together, and you can't really separate their energy. When you were born, in the sky, when a planet is only a degree or 2 apart, like they're really close, right? This is a big galaxy. And
Yeah.
so a degree or 2 apart is actually like you two right now, you're sitting really close together. So when the planet of chaos is also the planet of independence and rebellion, is right next to your emotional needs, guess what that makes you?
What?
You are emotionally rebellious. And you do it in a kind of like structured way. You don't like necessarily, if this was in a fire sign, you would cause a lot of trouble with this energy. But because it's Capricorn, it's more mature about the way you emotionally rebel. Does that make sense, Helena?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you emotionally rebel in ways like, I'm going to go to Green Bay and be an exchange student because that's stable and rebellious, right? So it's this kind of being independent. I'm going to go be independent and go to a foreign country. Like that's exactly what this would indicate. And then your intuition planet, Neptune, is also in this trio. So you have a really strong connection with intuition and what you need to be doing, like what's pulling you, like, oh, I'm going to go to Green Bay. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I just have to go there. Well, look, now who have you met, right? But would you say your choice to do your exchange program was kind of an intuitive thing that led you there?
Actually, not well. I guess in maybe one way. My mom was an exchange student when she was younger, and so that was something that I just felt like, yeah, why wouldn't I do that? That sounds awesome, learning English. And she said like her singing got really much like she was able to like sing a lot more, take a lot more space, which I think I needed at that time. I did not choose Green Bay. I chose the United States of America, and then something else chose Green Bay for me.
There's that spirit. I love it.
There it is.
The moon also represents your mother and your view of your mother. So the fact that you said, "Oh, my mom did it, so why wouldn't I do it?" That's a great example of this independent Uranus next to the moon. Like, oh, well, my mom did this. I'm gonna go be independent like my mom, right?
Yeah.
And this is the house of mothering. So, like, yeah, this is.
Yeah.
I love listening to people's stories and watching it unfold. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you're really like, when you have an emotional pull to do something, there is a spiritual thing. And I know you said your dad raised you very atheist, and that's super cool. I was raised Catholic, right? I'm recovering from that. So, right,
We're recovering from our childhood, aren't we?
absolutely. We have to find what our thing is. And for you, you can't separate your intuitive knowledge from your emotional independent drive. Like they are all together. So when you feel emotionally pulled to do something and it enhances your independent weirdo-ness, there is spirit guiding you. Like they are all together. It's very connected. And you most likely feel this in your body. Capricorn, it rules your body.
Okay.
So this would be a very like, your physical vessel would be like, oh, I need a change, or I need to do this, or you'll feel that internally. And that's something that I love about this combination, because you are very grounded in your emotions, but you're really weird and spiritual too.
Okay, nice.
I love that for you. Does that feel like like it's a good description and resonates with you?
I think like what you're explaining is like your body and like you being grounded in your emotions, but within your body, I think that's where my anxiety comes in.
Yeah.
I have like a general anxiety disorder, and my anxiety kicks into high gear if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to. And so it's very much like, hey,
your anxiety is your symptom.
yeah, pretty
It's
much.
like telling you, hey, we have a cut and we're bleeding, right? Your anxiety is telling you something's not in alignment here. Our vibration is off. We're out of tune, right? We're out of harmony, whatever musical term you want to use. I don't really care, right? But that is your symptom that your nervous system is not okay, because Uranus rules your nervous system.
Okay.
So your angst is that your inner world doesn't match the energy of your outer world. The energy aren't in harmony. They're not in tune. So when you get that anxiety, that is your, oh, ding, 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 I need to readjust. I need to go do some meditative practices. I need to go write some lyrics. I need to go away and realign myself and figure out if I'm on the right path, right? That's your symptoms.
Yes and no. Yeah, I would say I'm not the kind of person that goes and meditates or writes lyrics. Like that's
not yet. Not yet.
But okay. Well, what I just have to do something about it. So normally I just have to take like action. That's more in my wheelhouse of like, okay, I have anxiety. What's causing it? Cool. It's this thing probably. If it's not, then I have to like obviously give it a few days. But usually I can figure out what it is. And then as soon as I take action about it, then I feel a lot better.
And Uranus, like Laura said, rules the nervous system, and that you have Uranus right there with your emotions and the moon, it makes sense that you would experience a lot of anxiety. And I would guess that it's also very related to Capricorn things like responsibility, that you would the anxiousness would stem from a source of, am I supposed to fix this, or am I supposed to fix these things and these things and these things? So I would suggest that you always think like, okay, is this really my thing to fix?
Yeah.
Is it on my shoulders?
Yeah. Right. And working. Capricorn is working. And so make sure that your anxiety is telling you when you're working too hard. And you need to then mother and nurture yourself, right? Like you guys said just when you came on. You've been doing how many shows this week? 5? 5 shows. And you slept a lot, right? You just slept like a big sleep.
12 hours. That was one.
Absolutely need that.
100%.
For sure.
I know. Sleep is at my top of my list. Like first is sleep, then everything else.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, because intuitively in your body, your nervous system needs that. Yeah. You have to reset. So you're already listening to yourself. You're already in tune with your chart. Yay! Who writes the lyrics with you two? Who's the main writer, or do you write together?
Jon is the main writer. I'm more of a, like, I'm definitely a songwriter too, but like I need to be prompted to write. I can come up with like ideas, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to do that right now. Jon will be like, oh gosh, idea. And then, okay. And then, but I'm better at like coming up and like helping to finish a song. I'm good in like a session too. Like if we're writing with someone else, I'm pretty good at driving that.
It's more like a homework assignment.
Yeah, it's more like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It's not like, oh, I need to do this right now.
Yes, that makes so much sense with your Mercury, which is the planet that rules our mind and how we think and learn and communicate, is in Sagittarius. And then it's in this 3rd house with your sun, and the 3rd house is writing and communicating. However, Sagittarius is like a firework. It's very pretty for a couple minutes, and then it goes away and does something else, right? So like you come in, you flitter in, and then boop, 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 you go somewhere else. Like you're great at like, I come in and help with this, and then I go away. Right? That's very much Sagittarius energy of you can be there and be great support and have fun and add some fire when someone needs it. But then you go find something new.
Okay.
Like, that's great. That's what your mind is here to do. Now, Jon, let's check your chart quick.
Yes.
This is all over the place.
Yeah. This looks different, doesn't it? So Jon, your sun sign, your little donut, is over here at 1 degree Gemini. So Gemini is all about partnership. It's the sign of the twins. So working with another person is something that Gemini energy loves, and is just very accommodating with friendships, really great with friendships and networking and connecting. So you have a lot of friends, yeah? Acquaintances?
It depends on your definition of friend. Yeah, no, I definitely love people generally. So like, depending on if we're all considered friends or not is more because of the fact that like we have a job that isn't the same.
It's very hard for us to have like, it's getting a lot easier now that we're in Sweden because we have a lot more people that are doing what we do.
Yeah, and Stockholm has a lot more people that are freelancers, or they're like working not 9 to 5 every day necessarily, and so like it's a bit easier to find friends and like really hang out with everyone. But yeah, it's yeah, I would say I do. I mean, I have a lot of acquaintances who
Yes.
could be considered friends in potential.
That's
Yes.
the perfect description of
Mm.
Gemini right there. Yes, I have a lot of acquaintances who I could pull into my inner circle if I want,
Yeah.
but they reside more in the second or the third tier, right?
Yeah,
I feel you.
for sure.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I got lots of Gemini energy, and that's your normal. Like,
Nice.
don't ever feel bad
Yep.
about that. Like, that is what you've here to embody. So both your sun and the way you think and communicate is in Gemini. So you really are a great networker. Like, really lean
Mm.
into that with your connection. And oh, that person does that, and oh, we just talked to those weirdo astrologers. I bet they know people, right? Like, you keep like gathering people who have skills and talents you don't, and put them into your basket. And you're like,
Hey, I love it. No, it's really fun. It's cool because it's like it's one of those things where we've literally heard about it so much from so many musicians and just like some of our closer friends, and so it's fun to hear about it like in a more like okay, we're actually sitting down and we're like talking about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like instead of just like it being an abstract thing, because yeah,
yeah, because now it's more
fun.
personal.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's fun just to learn about it too. You know, like that's at minimum, but yeah, it's cool.
I love it.
Mm.
Helena, what do you see jump out in John's chart?
Your moon.
Mhm.
So when I knew we were gonna do an interview with you guys, I looked you guys up and I saw that you released an album called Feel All Your. So
Just
am I
feel your
pronouncing?
feelings. Yeah.
Feel Your Feelings. Yes. And I was like, oh, they will have a lot of Scorpio and Pisces in their chart because it's very like sort of emotional. And here we go. Here's one thing,
Yeah.
which is a big
Mm.
thing for you, John. It's all of your emotions are, in the sign of Pisces, and Pisces is the most feely of all of the signs. It's
Feeling and healing is the definition of
feeling
Pisces.
and healing.
Mm.
It's super sensitive actually also to energies and the vibes around you. So I would
Mhm.
guess that you're very sensitive. Like when you walk into a room, you really pick up everyone's feelings around you, and you're like, oh, maybe, oh, that didn't make me feel so good. I have to go home early. Or like, oh, I'm really getting a lot of like,
Good
this is
vibe.
really feeding myself. Moon in Pisces is a super empathic and person, sympathetic. And I would guess that, you are this just totally like nice guy that everyone knows that you will, if they ask for help, you will be there like in a heartbeat because you just really love helping people.
Kind of
Yeah,
to a
Sometimes,
fault.
yes, sometimes with this placement, it
yeah.
can be too much. You're giving from a basket that is empty. And especially when I see the other planet here right next to your moon merging together with your feelings is Saturn. And
Mhm.
Saturn is that planet that again and again in our lives reminds us what our lesson is and where we need to mature and grow up. And so you are getting a lot of lessons around that, around, I think, over giving from yourself. And sometimes people can try and walk over you, you know, because you are so, nice and kind. Um,
Yeah,
so that is,
Yeah.
Saturn's wanting you to mature into helping people, but also making sure that you are also helping yourself and healing baggage from generations before. Pisces rules things from the past and things that we can't necessarily feel or touch and see, but we can feel. So Saturn here is really making sure that throughout your life you grow up in your emotional maturity and you learn how to handle your emotions in a healthier way. You learn how to not be underhanded and not like check out. Pisces loves to check out of things that are too painful. And so
Mm.
Saturn's going, get back here and do the work. And you're like, no. And you're like, get back here, do the work. Right? Saturn's like the principal of school, like standing there going, you're going to get this grade and you're going to study and you're going to pass this class.
mm,
So having Saturn on your moon right there in Pisces is really a phenomenal energy because it does help you work on those healthy boundaries that Helena was talking about, making sure that you are going, I would love to help you, but am not feeling well and I need to take care of myself, right? Learning how to say those things is not easy, but it is your lesson throughout life. And you can't avoid your Saturn lessons. First, Saturn will come like a whisper and like whisper in your ear. And then if you ignore him, he will come and like, excuse me. And then if you keep ignoring him, he'll give you like a rock and frying pan upside the head. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
so have you
Yeah.
had those?
I mean, I would definitely say like I'm for sure a very emotional person and very much like a people person too. So for me, like that's kind of come out in a lot of different ways, I would say. But also I'm like insanely stubborn.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know, with different things in general, I think that's one of the biggest things with music too, and what we do with music is like I feel a lot of things, but I'm also incredibly stubborn about it. So like, if someone tells me like, oh, you're not gonna be able to do that, I'm gonna
You're
be
like,
like,
watch me.
yeah, watch me do it. Like, well, fine, I'll work on it another 2 years, and then I'll come back to you 2 years from now. And
I love that.
but I'd say one thing to tie that into like my experience as well is like I really needed therapy as well. So like those are a lot of things like if you're talking about it in terms of like Saturn energy, I guess
Yeah.
that's what you're calling it. But like to me that's really like what going to therapy was for. Like
For sure.
figuring out like for me I mean our album is called Feel Your Feelings, but that's something I heard in therapy,
Yep.
you know. My therapist was like, John, you need to feel your feelings more
And
because
also like feel your feelings
yeah.
because he
Not
does
everyone
take
else.
on exactly
Yeah.
because he does take on a lot of other people's
I
emotions and
yeah.
it's good for you to be able to separate, okay, but how am I actually doing?
Yeah. And it's very easy to just like, yeah, take on everyone else's emotions. And so, like, for me, learning through therapy, especially, was like, okay, feel your feelings, like, actually feel the emotions you're feeling. Secondly, like, feel your feelings in terms of like your feelings instead of other people.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a big thing for me because it's very easy to feel like you're not in control of your own life.
For sure.
So it's
Especially
important to
with
like,
Pisces and Gemini energy because they are so changeable. Gemini is it's the yin yang sign, right? It's the twins, so that we have multiple feelings. Gemini can see and feel both things at the same time, and Pisces is two fish swimming in different directions. So you kind of sit there go, do I feel that way or do I feel that way? And then your Gemini intellectual goes, I don't know, I can see them both. Right? Like there's this
I feel
confusion
like
that
I
shows
feel like
up.
my reaction to that, if you would say that, is like I feel everything. Like I don't feel just one way or the other, but I feel definitely everything. So that's for me, I found my outlet to be, like exercising or like specifically writing music. So for me,
So
like
perfect.
it's not something I can choose to do. Like literally, I could not do anything else
You have
because
to.
yeah, it's the way it's the way I've found in my life to be able to express my like just everything I'm feeling.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Can I talk about that in your chart?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
the 10th, I'm like, all right, Laura, come. So your 10th house up here is called your MC or your midheaven. And the start of your 10th house happens to be in Libra. And Libra is the sign that rules musicians. And your 10th house is the start of your purpose and contribution to society. So,
Mhm.
like, I don't know how, if you could have described that better. You can't not do this. Like, you have to contribute harmony to the world.
Mhm.
Yay, thanks for being a musician. That's phenomenal. And you said I have to exercise it out. Yes, the planet Mars is your drive and ambition and your fight, and he's in Leo. So when Mars is your go planet and he's in a fire sign, exercise is non-negotiable for you. Like you have to do it because it is the thing that helps you deal with all of the I feels everything's, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned before you were insanely stubborn. Your moon and Saturn are in the second house. Saturn is ruled by the sign of Capricorn. And I don't know if you've ever been around goats, but goats are stubborn mofos and they
I
don't.
love goats.
I love goats. I have some on my farm here. And
Aw.
these two planets happen to be in the second house, which is ruled by Taurus. And Taurus is the bull. And it is probably one of the most stubborn signs of the zodiac. So you've got a stubborn goat in next to your emotions in the house of stubborn bull. And then your planet of Venus of what you love and appreciate and how you are moved to take action on things is in the sign of Taurus. So your stubbornness is for real. For real. So like honor that
In a friendly way, though.
in a friendly way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
But
Helena, what else jumps out at you?
Yeah, I just want to jump back to you were saying that you were feeling everything and you were feeling it all, and that's also a sign of Pisces. Pisces is so good at understanding other people and seeing things from everyone's angle.
Yeah.
So it's so easy for you to like jump into someone else's shoes and be like, oh, I can totally see how that person is experiencing this thing, and that's such a good thing about Pisces. But then again, the boundaries, where do you draw that line in the sand that, okay, but here is okay for me and I don't want to be past this line. So for you, it's just very important to, yes, use this because this is a gift, but also remember that you don't need to always feel everyone's feelings or feel everything.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up therapy because Saturn next to your moon in Pisces absolutely requires therapy. And that's really what that Saturn is that you're leaning into your karmic healing, your baggage that you need to deal with. Everybody's got it, right? And you're taking action and doing it in a healthy way, which like, yay, kudos to you because not enough of us are doing that, right? And
therapy is important for sure.
It really
is so important.
We talk about mental health a lot here because I struggle a lot with mental health and a lot with my astrological chart placements. And it does make a huge difference. And I've been in and out of therapy for years and years and years. And it gives you tools and different perspectives. And I think that's a lot of what astrology does too, is it helps you to accept that, oh, cool, like I am here to do this and I'm doing it. Yay, right? There's nothing wrong with me. This is right. Like Amelie, there's nothing wrong with your anxiety. That's how your body manifests to tell you that you have a discomfort going on that needs to be addressed, right? So many people try to medicate it away and I'm like, no, that's your symptom. Don't like it's
I mean, I am on medication too because if I weren't, that would be not great. But yeah.
But you now recognize that you might not always need that medication. As you grow and mature into your chart, you can start to really embrace and accept certain feelings and recognize, oh, this is when I have to take time away from people, and I've been on medication in the past for all the things, and I've gotten myself off of them as I've grown and matured into a better understanding, a deeper understanding of why these things surface and how I'm supposed to deal with them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. But at the same time, like, I think, there's nothing wrong with taking medication if you need it for your whole life. And I mean, some things you can't grow out of, and that's okay. I just
absolutely
stand on mental health and all that.
Absolutely.
Like, you need to do what's right for you, whatever that might be.
And that's why everybody's chart is so important to really take into account, especially when we're dealing with health and mental health. Like, yeah, this is a placement you were born with. There is an anxiety thing in your chart. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And utilizing medication or herbs or whatever whatever works for you is right for you. And that's important. Absolutely. Yes.
I think that's one of the things where I started really to leaning into astrology was when I started to see things that I had been feeling bad about, that I was feeling bad about. Why am I so different in this way to, and I'm not like everyone else on these aspects. And then I saw in my chart and that made me accept it and just like not dwell on it and just move on, because we are all so different. And when we grow up, we have this sort of picture of, oh, this is how life is supposed to be. You do this and this and that, and this is what you do in a day, and this is how you succeed or whatever. But everyone is, has their struggles, has their sparks and everything, and just becoming friends with them, or like accepting that they are there, is so important. And so if it just feels so nice for the soul to rest with that. When I looked at you two's charts, I saw a lot of things that you had in common. For example, both of you have like important Sagittarius things. Amelie, you have your sun in Sag, and Jon, you have your ascendant in Sagittarius there. So that is also a very important thing in your chart. You call them the big threes: the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. So the ascendant is sort of how people see you and how you sort of see life. So you, Jon, you're also like this very optimistic dude who loves adventure and loves traveling. You also have Jupiter in this sign, which makes it like extra much. And I'm not surprised that you two are like flying back and forth. It seems like you change countries, I don't know how many times a year. And I'm sure that you really love it and enjoy like being on the road, traveling, being on adventure.
It fits both of you well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I could see you. Do you feel like you could go like keep doing this for another couple of years, or you feel like drained, too much change?
No. I think, I mean, we really feel like this is what we want to do, and I mean, we would like to expand and travel to other places as well. Obviously,
more traveling. Yes,
we're trying to like it has to make sense.
It's more about, I think it's more about like what we've learned over the last couple of years with the amount of gigs that we're doing and stuff, and traveling is more like you get physically tired. Even if you're not mentally tired, your body is just tired. So like, hence like before this podcast, we slept 12 hours, like.
And also we're not at the point where we make enough money that we can afford hotel rooms. So like we always drive back after every gig, and
even if it's 4 hours away.
So it's always like we're not like on tour this way, we're like on tour this way.
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I think if we could get to a point where we have more of a routine when it comes to like, okay, we get to a place and we play the show, and then we get to stay in that city and we can just go to bed right away, and then we can get up and like have more of a normal type of schedule. I would be very, it would be a lot easier to travel outside.
It'd be physically easier.
Yeah.
And like mentally, I think mentally you get to a point where if you're busy enough, you can't spend time for your mental health too. So it's important to like, that's something that we really try to prioritize. We're very aware of those things, I guess. But yeah, we love traveling, and I mean, it's fun for us to have a lot of friends in a lot of places, and just being able to like hang out with people and stuff too.
Yeah. What about those amazing little vans? Like you can convert a van and just.
No. Okay.
Joe?
Here's the thing with us. We both hate camping. Like we're not doing it. Not happening. No.
Okay.
We have one of those amazing vans. We have one of those, but we're not going to convert it into somewhere we sleep. No.
Like Green Bay is okay. Like Stockholm is like a good sized city for me.
Yeah.
Green Bay feels kind of like the countryside a bit. Like even though it's still a city, like that's like
I get what he's saying.
That's like the most camping I'm like, like
living in Green Bay is the most camping that you will do.
Oh, he's gonna do.
Burn.
Yeah, we went to like in Dalarna. We went to her mom has a summer house up in Dalarna, and it's like I'm literally like. We get back to Stockholm, I'm like, oh my God, civilization.
He's like kissing the ground.
I just like crawl on the ground, like pick up the dirt and like
kiss it.
A little bit.
Yeah, eat it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't eat it.
He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're comfortable people.
Very much. I would say so. Like because our life is so chaotic, I think
that stability.
Like, yeah. And like for us that stability looks like a real bathroom and a shower.
And a good a good bed.
Yeah,
Like,
and
air
not
mattress,
having
right?
and not having to worry
Yeah.
about like mowing a lawn when we get back
Absolutely.
from work,
So,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Amelie, your second house, which is what we're talking about right now, is like the
Huh?
foundation and structure of our life. That's the area of life where our home is and things like that. You have Jupiter there, and Jupiter is really big, and Scorpio is what sign it's in. So Scorpio is the energy of pressure. And so you have a lot of big pressure, and you really need some comfort and stability to deal with the expansion of these transformations and things you go through in life. And that makes a lot of sense for you to need that comfort and stability with a bed and a comfy home and things like that. Absolutely. And then Jupiter is having a conversation to Saturn, and it's called a square. And a square energy is the conversation where it's a little bit tension filled. So these
Okay.
two were chatting in the sky, and they weren't really having the most easy conversation when you were born. And Saturn's in Pisces for you, and you're actually having your Saturn return right now at this
Okay.
moment. So Saturn in the sky only comes back around every like 28, 29, 30 years, depending on the timing of things. And when your Saturn returns to where he was when you were born, this is a huge time for growth and maturity. And for you, it's growing and maturing in the sixth house, which is how you take care of yourself, how you're of service to other people, working on your health, right? Mental, physical. Pisces would for sure be mental health, and
Yeah.
making sure you're maturing and growing in healing and feeling, right? And doing it on a daily basis, creating structure that works for you.
Yeah.
And Jupiter is actually like helping you, but he's helping you in kind of a pushy way. Like he's making you do it. He's going, your life's going to get big, so you better make sure you're doing this structure, no matter if you're in Sweden or if you're in Green Bay or if you're in Baraboo, wherever you are, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that you are doing this structure so that you have that, you can relax, you
Yeah.
can calm your nervous system. It's really important for you right now. You're really growing and maturing into that, like this moment right now in the
Right
sky
now.
today.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know,
Today.
when people talk about like the 30-year-old crisis,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that is actually a sudden return. And the crisis is sort of like a bad name, I guess, for this. But this is a time when people start, you know, they make big moves. People make big moves because you have to, it's a time where you need to mature. Like Laura said, like the sky or Saturn is asking you, like, okay, so now we've been a whole lap around the zodiac with you.
Uh-huh.
Now it's time to mature. And this is time when a lot of people, they either have kids, they move, they buy a home, or they move
Yeah.
country. They make big moves because there is this push to mature.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so funny to like, when I learned about astrology, I'm like, oh, that's why people have like a crisis when they're around 30. And yeah, that's
Nice.
the one.
There you are. There you are. So let's look at your
Yeah.
chart together. I want to point out too, Amelie, you have a Libra rising or your ascendant sign. So
Okay.
again, this is the filter, or the I like to call it the orange peel, right? What's inside the orange is very different than the outside. So this is the outer
Yeah.
layer people see. So you again have this Libra rising, and then John's got Libra on the 10th house and his career. So you are both showing up in a big way with this musical harmony, peace, relationship, like just really putting energy out there to make things feel more peaceful. Like that's a thing with both of you. And
Okay.
I love that both of you came together because of music. Like
Yeah.
it makes me so excited.
Makes sense.
So when we merge your charts together, this is what we get. So we get a whole nother chart, and your energies come together like this. So when people see the band, when people see you, when they experience the two of you together, this is the energy that they see and feel. And so we'll chat about this a little bit. Helena, you want to dive in?
Yeah. So what I first look at is your ascendant, then, like how people initially see you and what they first feel when they see you. And you guys have Scorpio as your ascendant, and Scorpio is a very like intense sign. It has intensity and it goes deep. And that's also another sign I was thinking about when I heard the title of your album, like Feel Your Feelings. Scorpio is so Pisces is like, yeah, feel your feelings, feel all of it. And Scorpio is the bottom of the ocean. Like, okay, feel all the feelings, but then like, it's really like that when you experience really amazing, like ecstatic emotions or really terrible, horrible things, it's Scorpio energy.
It's
Scorpio
the end of the scale.
transforms.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about death and rebirth. So it's not like a light subject, it's intense. So I guess when people see you live, they will experience like
A
they have an
profound
intense connection with your music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah. And the fact that you talk about mental health so openly, and so do we, that scorpionic subject, the taboo subjects people are a little afraid to address. You guys are like, we're going to show up and talk about that shit. Let's do it. Right? Like we don't have qualms talking about sexual stuff, traumas, or mental health traumas, or like hard shit we have to go through in life. Like that's the thing that people connect with you on best. So keep writing that really transformative stuff with your music, because it's what you're supposed to be doing. Like that is the energy, like changing people, changing the way they see things, the way they feel. Like Scorpio is change and transformation. So like that's freaking cool, you guys.
Yeah. And what I see
Nice.
now I didn't see before is that you have your north node on the ascendant. And the north node, that's the little one right there. It sort of shows your soul's purpose and what you're aiming towards in this life. And you as a couple and as like a group, because the group is the couple, right? There's just the two of you. So that is 7,000 apart. Your soul's purpose is really to keep going in this direction, to dive deep, to dig deep, and be be comfortable in the intensity, and being in that, like just to be able to be in that is your soul's purpose, and it's on the ascendant. And I feel like that's a really like fortunate thing to have those two together like that.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And you also have Pluto at 28 degrees in Scorpio. And again, this is the first house. So this is still the layer or the peel that you show people. And Pluto is the planet that's ruled by Scorpio and is all about this transformation and powerful energy. So when it's in the first house, you guys, like you show up as a power couple, and you show up with like, we gonna change the world, right? Like we gonna make sure shit does not stay the same way we came with it, right? We're gonna change that. And Pluto is having a lovely trine or blue line conversation to your planet of making money. So the planet of making money happens to be in the 9th house, which is travel, keep moving, like explore new things. And it's in Leo, and Leo is courageous and bold and be seen and get acknowledged. Please, I need applause. Give me some likes, right? Like honor me by acknowledging our skills and talents, right? And those conversations between this powerful transformation planet and how you make money and relationships tells me that your evolvement as a couple, your involvement and your evolve, the way you evolve and change, is part of your financial path, right? That's part of your growth with finances, with making money through your music, is make sure you don't stay the same. You have to keep changing the way you do music, the way you show up. Like, don't do this album the same as that album because you're two different people when you wrote that one versus when you wrote this one, right? Like, you've matured, you've grown. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Helena, what else you see?
Yeah, and the sun in this horoscope, and the one for you as a couple, is in Pisces. And aside from being like a super nice and empathetic sign, Pisces is also like the poet. So definitely for you guys together you really become this like dreamy, poetic, you have this vibe, artistic. But then with the moon, it adds a little bit of, you have a need to be independent
Mm-hmm.
in whatever you do. It's like an emotional need for you guys as a couple and as a band.
Yep.
And to be unique, like to do your own stuff.
Yeah, this is a chart that does not work well for somebody, but works well with people. Like you guys need to remain independent entrepreneurs. Like that's really important in this couple chart. You wouldn't work well like as an employee at all. Don't do that. That's not what this indicates. This is very much independent, do our own thing because we emotionally need it. You really crave the two of you together with this weirdo Aquarius moon. You have independent emotional needs, and working for somebody is not going to fill those emotional needs, right? You have to stay independent and keep rocking your weirdness. Like that's really important. Doing weird.
Yeah, and be free. It's all about freedom as well. Like maybe you can be employed by someone, but you have to have a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
You know, to do exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say that's probably more,
That's
that's a bit
reasonable.
more accurate. Like we're very, especially in terms of music, like music is one of those things that you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
So like you have to work with people, but also like even with labels and stuff, like we're definitely like we would love to work with people, but yeah,
But definitely keeping that. I mean, we would
yeah.
like to be able to like keep the freedom that we have now, obviously, where we can go to Sweden when we want to, we can go to the US when we want to, and all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when it comes to money, I feel like people want to know about money, right? Like that's an
Yeah, we
important
can
thing,
talk about money.
right? The second house is that foundation and structure and finances, how that kind of shows up. And when you have the planet of chaos and change in the second house, this typically indicates, I'm smiling because I know I have people in my life with this. This typically indicates like a lot of money and then no money. And then suddenly we have some money and then now it's all gone because we spent it on bills or we bought a van or whatever, right? There's a lot of change that comes with Uranus in the second house. Sometimes we live in Stockholm, sometimes we live in Green Bay, right? It's lots of change. So be okay with that. Like that's my advice. It's just like be all right that this is you guys as a couple. And it doesn't mean you're always going to be broke or always going to be rich or whatever. You'll never be financially stable. It just means there's going to be a lot of changes over the course of your relationship, which I'm sure you've already seen. Like, you know, just
I mean, that's being an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
like,
it's about it, like
you know.
making the money and then reinvesting it and hoping that it will pay off.
exactly.
Yeah, but doing it in a structured way, and we're very like we do have a lot of structure in everything we do. I think it's funny. We had our sound person was like, "Hey, I think you guys are like kind of like out there a little bit, super artsy and like not
Well, he
really."
said like we live the bohemian lifestyle.
Yeah,
and
and we're
like,
like,
no, we don't. Like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean by
like
that?
yeah, we are very, very. We make choices in everything we do still,
Yeah.
like as a business as well, and like we're not.
We don't really leave it up to fate in that way.
Yeah, we do work on it.
Right.
No, because this is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is very much about working on the structure and creating a solid foundation. And when we get, okay, we're going to get a big paycheck from this gig, let's figure out and be smart about where we reinvest this, right? There's a lot of like being mature about it. That makes a lot of sense.
And also you have Mars, like in the 10th house is sort of an extension of the MC, which shows your career. And in the 10th house, you have Mars, which is your drive. So you have a lot of energy to put to work. Like you have a lot of energy for this. You like it. And you also have Mercury there. So in Virgo, which gives you guys a really good brain to do the logistic parts.
Yeah.
You know?
The schedule
really,
that you just came out with for your tour. Yeah. That was Mercury in Virgo. Virgo's the analytical analyzer and making sure the details are all worked out and that we have it all set and that this doesn't overlap with this, right? Like you're really good at that as a couple, making sure that you're thinking and analyzing for the band, for your career, for your purpose. There's a lot of good collaboration there when it comes to that kind of effort of moving your career forward. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you. That's a really good placement, you guys. Like really
good. Yay.
Yay.
And you have 3 planets in Leo, and Leo is all about just being bold and daring and courageous and going big or going home, right? Like, we're going to do this. Like Jon said, someone tells me I can't do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm like, yep, right there.
100%, yeah.
And that's phenomenal because this planet here in the middle, her name is Ceres, and she's a dwarf planet. And she is all about nurturing and self-care and really filling your bucket back up so that you have energy to do this. And for you, it's the travel that is fulfilling, and it's the learning about other ways of doing things. How does this culture do it? How do the people in Stockholm do it versus the people in Wisconsin, right? Learning about other cultures and other ways that other bands are succeeding is very important for filling your bucket and being recognized. You guys really like an applause. Like, that's a thing. And
that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing. No,
Yeah.
it really fuels you and fills your internal bucket. Is when people clap and are like, yeah, like you're like, ah. Like, take that in this Pisces sun and Saturn, right? Like, you've got this absorbability like a sponge as a couple. Take that applause in and like use it to fuel you to keep growing and learning, because that is your self-care bucket, and as a couple. So, and also more intimately as a couple, making sure you're honoring and applauding each other, right? Like, if you bring, let's say, Jon, you bring Amelie some tea and it's just perfect the way she loves it and it's perfect temperature. Amelie, make sure you're like really praising him. Like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate this, right? Those little appreciations are really important as a couple to keep honoring. It's like sometimes as longevity happens, my husband and I have been together since we were 16 and 17. So we've been through it. And over time, sometimes those little appreciations can kind of go by the wayside. And for you guys, it's really important to make sure that that doesn't happen, that there's always this honoring and supporting each other and lifting each other up and showing appreciation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, like that's,
sure.
I feel like that's important for any couple.
Yeah.
It is. It is. But for you guys, especially, like, man, if you could applaud each other once in a while, do it. Be like, yeah, you made it great. Yay. Right?
Amazing.
That would just like, ooh. And that's what you need, is that smile and that jovial kind of energy, which is Leo loves to laugh and play. It's the sign of the child. So that playful, childlike energy is really important in your chart. Make sure you keep playing.
That's right.
And music is play, right? You guys love to play.
Yeah.
So enjoy that. And again, Venus is how we relate with people and make money, and she's here too. So your money and relationship planet, your self-care planet, your drive, your ambition, your fight for what you want, and then your purpose and contribution to society are all in this really big Leo energy. And I love that for you guys so much. I can't wait till you're super famous. I'll be like,
that's when we're going to release this podcast.
Yeah, right.
We're saving this podcast for.
I've got that song in my head, go big or go home, right? That's your thing. You've got to really make sure you are doing life as a couple in a big way. And I feel like you're totally embracing that.
Yeah, I think we are, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. What questions do you guys have?
I don't know if I have any questions. I feel like you guys covered a lot, and I think it's just gonna be like, it's gonna be interesting to like keep this in the back of our heads and like let it sink in a little bit. And yeah, I'm excited to see what like some of our friends that are really into astrology, like what they think about the episode and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. This was so much fun to have you guys on.
It was a lot of fun.
That's great.
The individual parts of you and then see it merge together and like know a little bit about you, but not really. Like, we've never sat and had conversations before.
Yeah, for sure.
So this was so much fun. Helena, you have any thoughts?
No, I just want to hear some more about like your touring. How are you like in the middle of touring right now, or are you on the end or in the beginning?
Yeah,
Or...
I would say we're very much in the middle. So we're in Wisconsin all summer. We only have like a couple of out of state shows. We decided to stay mostly in Wisconsin. I think we have like 80 shows. And
Oh my,
so I think we passed about the halfway point now. And
How's
yeah.
your energy
well
level
done.
feeling? Are you feeling good about it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely crashed yesterday in a big way, but
Hmm.
we have only 2 shows. I mean, it might be 4. We'll see because things get booked last minute too. But we are uh, preparing to go down to Delavan, where my host mom's sister has like a little apartment. So we just, because we're living with John's parents while we're touring, and so we just need some alone time and just gonna like try to just get a change of environment and
Mm,
do some self-care
Yes.
for a few days.
nice.
And then 2 of our friends
Yeah.
from Stockholm are actually coming to visit us, which is going to be it's really exciting, and it's also like a little exhausting,
They're
so,
both
like playing host
Oh,
and
but they're
all
both
that.
artists.
Yeah, so they get it, and
Yeah.
so it should be really, really good.
mm,
Amelie, you
Mhm.
have your purpose and career in Cancer
Okay.
completely. And Cancer is mothering and self-care and
Mm,
nurturing. And
nice.
yesterday, well, right now is actually a new moon in Cancer. So that means both
Mhm.
the sun and the moon are in Cancer. So the fact that you crashed yesterday makes 100% sense. Yes.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
So whenever there's Cancer energy, be aware of that because you could have a tendency to go too big with that.
Mm,
So making sure you're equaling your own self-care with
yeah,
how much you're giving out, right?
yeah,
mm.
for sure.
But you
And
are here
this,
to mother and nurture humanity.
Nice.
You are.
I'll try my best.
yeah,
No pressure.
No
no
pressure.
pressure. Heal the planet. No, but this new moon also is extra intense because we have Pluto
Mhm.
opposite the new. Oh, hang on,
This is from yesterday. So yeah,
oh, it's from
it's
yesterday.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
the
yeah,
moon moved.
so this is an extra intense new moon. I just want to say add that because I've been feeling very emo today, and
Mm,
I think it's affecting you a lot because you have that in your career house. So
mm.
Yep.
yeah,
So you do need to make sure that you are, again, that healing and feeling concept is really strong within both of you in different parts
Yeah,
of your chart, and helping others to lean into their emotions and helping others to feel and not feel bad about whatever they're feeling, right?
yeah,
That's literally what you guys are here to do. And I think you're doing a phenomenal
yeah.
job. So yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
applause.
Yay,
I
applause.
love it. I love it. Keep on doing your thing, you guys. I love listening to your
Yeah.
music. My kids and I listen to it frequently, and
Oh, so sweet.
it's
Aw.
been awesome to see your journey and transformation over the last couple of years. And just follow you. I love watching people do their passion, and
Yeah.
clearly you guys have a passion for this.
Well, make sure
Yeah.
to come out to
Thank
some
you.
shows because we play in Green Bay all the time and the area. So
We're getting there. I have a couple on the calendar. The biggest thing is I've got 5 freaking kids, so
yeah, no, I get it. But a lot of them you can come to. Like the Tile Towns ones are pretty good
They're very chill. Yeah.
because then they can just like run around
perfect.
and like you can listen to music and they can just play. So
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Um,
And please
thank you so
share
much for
and
having
like,
us.
do all of this stuff, with the podcast, all this stuff to do. And I can't wait to hear what your friends have to say about this as well. So excited. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ram and Goat Astrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.